Konnichiwa everypony, it's Paganista Eiko, and today I'll be making a tutorial video on how to style your Pinkie Pie mane and tail. So here she is, and I've pretty much brushed out her mane and her tail. Luckily, this wasn't a toy that had tinsel in its mane, so thank goodness for that. Alright, so let's move on to the things that you will need to style her mane and tail. So for Pinkie Pie, you're just going to need a container of warm water, some of that pomade gel wax stuff, a comb, and a few bobby pins. We don't need shears. I'm not going to be cutting any of her hair off. You know, pretty much the length that she comes in is the ideal length that's needed to style her mane and tail to how I want it styled. So let's begin by wetting Pinkie's mane and her tail. Again, I'm going to avoid completely getting her submerged. As I said on my first styling tutorial, that's something that I tend to avoid due to personal reasons. So get her nice and wet, and we'll be ready to style her. Okay, so now that Pinkie's mane and tail are nice and wet, let's just jump right into the styling process. I know I had said I wasn't going to do any cutting on Pinkie's hair, but she does have a bang, so I did cut a small little strand. Basically the equivalent, the hair comes through holes on the head and the tail. I just took out a thin strip, the equivalent of one hole, and cut it to the length that I wanted it to be. So that's basically the only cutting that I did and will be doing on Pinkie. Now the mane is, we're going to divide the mane into 4 sections. This will be the first, a small thin section. So not thick at all, pretty much that thickness. And let's grab some of that wax. Again, not too much. And just work it in that section. Try to avoid grabbing that bang into it, because you don't want to place that into this section. That's separate. You can even add a little bit of the wax onto it. So you're going to need a total of 8 bobby pins for this styling. And you're going to basically use the bobby pins as curlers. Now this is the second time that I am doing this this video. Unfortunately, on my first try, I curled the hair a little way too tight. So when I undid the bobby pins, the curls were just way too tight. I couldn't, I really couldn't do anything with the curls that came out. So I basically wet Pinkie's hair again and am starting from scratch. So what you want to do, take your bobby pin, slide it down the hair, and then you're going to curl upward. Now, like I said, you don't have to make the curls super tight. The looser, the better, actually. So just, you know, go easy. And now you're going to take another bobby pin, and you're going to use it to anchor that curl and hold it down. Now grab your second section, not any thicker than your first, maybe by just a little, and add some of that wax to it. And now you're going to basically do the same thing with the bobby pin. Slide it down and very, very loosely curl it up. Once you get to the base, use another bobby pin to anchor it down. Third section. You want to keep your sections as clean as possible, meaning don't have hair from the section up top tangled in with hair from the section that you're working in now. It just doesn't, in the end, the result isn't as nice looking. Grab some of that wax, work it in. A bobby pin, slide it down, very loosely roll it up. Down to the base, to the root. Might have to do this one over again. Sorry, bear with me. Okay. The first time I did this, it took me so much longer because I was making the curls extremely tight. It took me a while to get it all curled up and anchored down. Okay, this one's gonna give me a hard time. Let's try this one more time. So there we go. Grab another pin and anchor that one down. The last section, for the mane at least. Working some of that wax. I personally like to use the wax only because it helps you in keeping the hair together while it's wet, and then even when the styling dries off, it does give the hair some holds, which is good. curl up this last section. Very, very important to remember, do not go super, super tight with these curls. Curl them with the least amount of pressure and tightness as possible. So this is pretty much the mane, all styled up. Kind of looks like she has this funky curler set on. And the last thing is her tail, which pretty much is the same thing. You don't have to divide it. Just keep it one whole section. Put some of that wax through it. And now and just very, very easily curl it in. Try to anchor it sideways, like I have it here. And we're done. So that's pretty much Pinkie styling. We'll give it a few days, maybe 2 or 3 days, and just to allow her to completely dry off. And once it's totally dry, we'll remove those bobby pins, and we'll see how the styling came out. Hey everypony, so it's been a few days, and my Pinkie Pie is pretty much all like completely dry, her mane and her tail. So we're going to remove these bobby pins and basically see how the curls came out. So just go on in and start taking out each and an individual section. I find it easier if you work from the back bottom one and work your way up. So when you do remove these, don't try to open it up this way. Try to basically open them up, pulling it outward. So that's basically the first curl on the back. So again, try to avoid pulling it up, because that does tend to not straighten, but just kind of stretch out the curl, and you really don't. You want to keep the curl as tight as possible. So here's basically her mane. Now this is again, this is basically just removing the bobby pins. So what you want to do is you want to style it out accordingly. Pinkie does always have like this last curl here at the base, come down a little bit more, and then just pretty much eyeball. Her hair's kind of like this an easier way of like explaining it. It kind of like looks like a curly mohawk type of thing. So just go into the hair and play with it. See what works best for you, what you think looks more Pinkie Pie-ish. Maybe you can lift the top here to give it somewhat of more volume. These ends, they came out like a little frizzy, so what I like to do is I just like to tuck them into the other curls just to make it look cleaner and neater. And again, it's basically just using your personal preference and what you think looks cute and what you think looks like Pinkie Pie. So I think I'm pretty satisfied with this outcome for Mane. I think it looks pretty cute. So, and then again, there's that bang that we cut. So now let's move on to the tail. So just remove the bobby pins. Again, don't pull out, but more as sliding the pin out this way. So now Pinkie has a very voluminous, fluffy looking tail. So what you want to do is, what I do is I divide it into two little sections here. And then the top section, I pretty much play along with the curl. And then I take the bottom part and just kind of like work it in. Again, it's your judgment here, so just go into it, styling it as you see fit to your personal preference. But what this mainly does is it just creates a very voluminous curl to where it creates that look that Pinkie is notorious for, which is that voluminous, very fluffy, like cloud-like looking mane and tail. So here she is. I'm pretty happy with the outcome of it. Again, if you know, if you do this and the curls don't come out as you were expecting them to, it's very, very simple to redo. Just wet the mane and the tail, pull it out, stretch it out with your fingers with a brush, and then just set the pins again as curlers. So yeah, there's Pinkie. I think she looks really cute. She looks happy. And there's my little tutorial video for styling